welcome back to another video. Today's video is going to be vampire related. Yeah. Specifically, my favorite movie of all time, The Lost Boys. Now, anyone who knows me knows I talk about this movie way too much. Probably bother them with how much I talk about this movie. I have seen The Lost Boys 11 times. And I can quote half the movie while watching it. And I just know a lot about it, behind the scenes and, you know, the actual film itself. Now, I have fangirled over this movie for years, but I don't think I've ever told anyone, like, the specific reasons why I love this movie, and so I thought in today's video I would give you reasons and backstory, I guess, as to why The Lost Boys is my favorite movie / vampire movie of all time. Now, Lost Boys came out in 1987. I was born in 2001. That was a whole 14 years before I was born. So I was already 14 years old by the time I was born. I did not watch it until I was probably about 11. So add another 10 years to that, 24 years. I was about 24 years old before I saw it for the first time, and I fell in love. Now when it comes to vampire movies, there's a thing that I always love, specifically, that makes a vampire movie near the top of my favorites lists are the bite scenes. If they're romantic and broody and, you know, well filmed. I don't like vampires who rip people's throats out. It's a sensual thing, I guess. Lost Boys does not actually have one of those, which is always a surprise when I say it's my favorite movie, because it doesn't actually have a scene like that. The only bite scene that it has is when the Lost Boys attack a bunch of people on the beach. And, you know, they're throwing people in the fire, and David bites someone's head. For what reason? I don't know. And they're pretty much just murdering everyone. Now, of course, there are a few other scenes where people get, like, pulled into the air, but you don't actually see it. This is the first time you see the Lost Boys feeding. And it's a little aggressive and kind of, I mean, it's not really gory, but, you know, it's not sensual in any single way, and there's not a bite like that in the entire movie. But to me, that's not important. Normally, that is an important thing when it comes to a vampire movie, but this movie has so much beauty in it that it doesn't even matter. It is so 1980s, it's not even funny. Of course, it came out in 87, so that makes sense, but just watching it, you feel like you're in the 1980s. The hair, the makeup, the outfits, it's just awesome. I really want to go to the boardwalk just to be like, this is beautiful. They actually filmed on the Santa Cruz boardwalk, but they had to change the name because they didn't want vampire murders to be associated with the boardwalk, even though it's clearly obvious it's the Santa Cruz boardwalk. And it was basically because they didn't want to be known as the murder capital of the world, which is what Santa Clara is named in the movie. So they changed it, but they did film on the actual boardwalk. So I just one day want to go on that boardwalk. But yeah, it's so 80s. It's awesome. The acting is really damn good. Of course, the effects are interesting. Like the green screen moments. There are 2 green screen moments in the entire movie. One is when Dwayne, I believe, grabs Sam and pulls him into the air. And there's another one when Michael and David, like, lunge at each other. And the rest of it is all handmade effects, which is one of my favorite things I've talked about before. I love handmade effects. That's why I like the older movies, because you know that someone made that. Someone made that explode. Someone made that makeup. Someone made this, that, whatever. You know, it's all handmade rather than CGI, which CGI is cool, but I think it's a lot more interesting when you know that someone actually made it with their bare hands. So that's another reason why I love it. It's also really broody and cute. The only issue that I have with the movie is that, of course, it ends with all the vampires dying, which is a trope that happens in a lot of vampire movies. The vampire's the bad guy, must die. Like in every Dracula movie, Dracula dies. The vampire always dies. I want a movie where the vampire wins. What I would have loved is that Michael stayed a vampire and is like, oh no, I'm stuck this way. Kind of like how Scott got stuck as a werewolf at the end of season 1 of Teen Wolf. And sorry if I spoiled that for you, but that show, art, also. Not vampire related, but it is. And I think I would have loved that just a little bit more, but of course this was also during the time when vampires were evil and they always had to die, so it's not a surprise that they did that. Like in Fright Night, Jerry dies. I mean, the whole point was for Jerry to eventually die, so that makes a lot more sense. And I would have loved a sequel. They had rumors of a sequel where there was going to be like a group of vampire biker chicks. Oh, that would be nice. David was going to be in it too. I was like, oh That would have been sweet. And honestly, what would have been cool if they ended the movie is if David didn't die, because that's what they were kind of like playing at, how he died peacefully, is because he didn't die. He didn't die, and Michael's still a vampire, so they realize, oh shit, he wasn't the vampire lord or, you know, leader. It was David, and David's gone, and then they're stuck that way. That would have been nice. But, you know, it's fine. It's still a really good movie. The grandpa is literally one of the best parts of the entire movie. He's funny and kooky, and of course he doesn't have a ginormous part, but every time he's on screen, you just laugh, and he's just, the line at the end of the movie, then in Santa Carla, I never could stop it. All the damn vampires, and he's just drinking his soda, and it's like, you're a great dude, my guy. And every time he comes up, I mean, he pretty much killed the head vamp. I mean, Michael did jump so that the ginormous fence stake would go through him, but if the grandpa hadn't, you know, charged through the front of the cabin, which they destroyed heavily, so whoever's cabin that is, I'm sorry, went right through it, then the vampire wouldn't have died. So it's like, just saying. Sam is great. So are the Frog Brothers. Like, their whole, like, friendship is just, I love it so much. I've cosplayed most of the cast from Lost Boys. Sam, which is not very good. I've cosplayed Edgar a lot. I do a female Edgar, and I think it looks pretty nice. I've cosplayed Star on 2 separate occasions, and I've also cosplayed Michael. So I've almost cosplayed the entire cast of Lost Boys. I just need to cosplay the actual Lost Boys. I've not cosplayed David or Dwayne or any of them. Just, you know, the main group of people against the vampires. But hey, maybe someday I'll get to cosplay them too. And Sexy Saxman. We can't forget Sexy Saxman, Tim Capello. I didn't know his name for like years after I watched the movie. I always called him Sexy Saxman because, I mean, have you seen his performance? Like, that's sexy. And he is very good with the saxophone. So, like, that scene is just... And every time I watch the movie, I always see something different. I know not everyone can do this, or, you know, if you've seen enough times, you know everything, but every time I watch the movie, I always notice something else. Like, they make a weed joke in the kitchen between Michael and Sam, which I didn't notice the first few times I watched it, and I was like, holy crap, they just made a weed joke, bro, that's pretty sweet. And of course, they make a few other little jokes here and there that you don't really notice right away, because it's not, like, a big part of the story. You know, they're little things in the background, and you're like, oh my god, dude. And, like, one moment my sister pointed out is that Michael's sunglasses aren't correct. They're, like, crooked or, like, bent or something. So now every time I see Michael with his sunglasses on, they all look really funny because they're all messed up. And normally I wouldn't have seen that, but yeah. The only bad thing that I don't like about this movie is when he goes to Star to get an explanation. He's like, what am I? What's happening? And instead of explaining anything to him, they have sex. It's like, cool, yeah, I'm glad that you guys could have a good time. But Michael just almost killed his brother and flew out the window, which is an awesome scene, by the way. He's just flying out the window. The only thing holding him on is a freaking phone cord. And, like, instead of explaining anything, Star just starts making out with him, and then they have sex. And it's like, that's cool and all, but, like, I'd like an explanation. And I think, in honesty, Michael should figure out what's happening. It's not really hard to guess what's happening. I mean, in movies, one of the, like, tropes I hate is, like, what are you? What's happening to me? Bruh, I think you know what's happening, or what you are. It's not hard to guess. You got fangs. You crave blood. What does that? A vampire? Maybe. It's not hard to guess, but they're always, like, shocked and amazed. They're like, what? It's like, dude, literally, like, it's kind of obvious. But whatever. That's fine. And I like all the death scenes, you know, and when they kill the little one, and they got glitter all over them, and, like, that's pretty great. Just saying. And, like, every time I watch this movie, I always find something that I love more about it. And, it's like a comfort movie. Everyone has that movie where they feel really comfortable, and, like, they just, you know, it makes them happier. Lost Boys does that. When I'm nervous about a doctor's appointment, Lost Boys. When I'm nervous about something else, Lost Boys. When I'm bored, Lost Boys. Like, it's always there for me. I have posters, I have clothes, I have the movie on DVD. I have a few cosplays dedicated to the movie. It's very important to me. And it's, of course, doesn't have bite scenes like I normally like, and it's not, high quality vampire movie. It is from the 80s, but it doesn't matter to me. Lost Boys is my number one, with Friday Night being like a very close second. And I'm talking the 1985 Friday Night, not the remake from 2011. Those two are my favorite movies of all time. All time. If I could meet someone from Lost Boys, if I could meet Michael or David, Kiefer, I would love to meet him. That would be so cool. I met the original Jerry from Friday Night. That was probably like the best day of my life. So if I could meet someone from Lost Boys, then I have met someone from each of my favorite vampire movies ever, and that would be so cool. One of them, I can quote this movie in many moments, but the one moment that I know every single word to is the stair scene. Right after you see Michael's wonky reflection, which is hilariously edited, Sam freaks out, and he's like, "You're a vampire, Michael. My own brother, a goddamn shit-sucking vampire. But you wait till Mom finds out, buddy." And he runs up the stairs, and Michael's like, "Sam! Sam!" And I know every word, and I quote it. Every time I watch a movie, I talk. I will quote scenes out loud. Like, no joke. I will bother you for watching this movie together. If I don't know you very well, I'll whisper it. But if I'm with family, I will just say it out loud. Because I love this movie. And I plan to watch it a 12th time sometime this year, so... I know some people who've seen it even more times than me, and I thought 11 was a lot. Oh, there's people who've seen it more. I've also been alive for only 20 years, and I only saw it when I was 11. So in the last 9 years, I've seen it 11 times. So that's more than once a year, depending on how often or whatever. But yeah, it's a really good movie. If you guys have not seen The Lost Boys, oh my god, watch it. Some people, like my best friends, have no idea that this movie even exists because it came out in the 80s. And I'm like, bro, watch it. Watch the movie. I will force you to watch it with me. Like, I have forced other people to watch it with me. I've forced my cousins to watch it. I've forced friends to watch it. I've forced relationships, people I was in a relationship with, to watch it. I've forced a lot of people to be like, "You know what we should watch? Lost Boys. You want to watch Lost Boys?" And I will watch it with them. And it's like my thing now. I just show them Lost Boys because a lot of my people close to me don't know that movie. They might know it because I fangirl about it all the time, but they've never actually seen it. And it's like, bro! I mean, I get it. It's from the 80s. And, I'm 20, so that's not really the content we would watch. You'd have to go look for it. But hey, it's a good movie. Demons. If you love Lost Boys as much as I do, which I know some people do, comment down below what your favorite scene is, who your favorite character is, and, like, anything that, like, what made you love Lost Boys? Like, what was the thing that made you love it? My mom showed me this movie, because she's like, "This is really good," and then I'm like, "Holy shit, this is really good!" And the soundtrack, don't get me started on the soundtrack. Art. Soundtrack's art. Awesome. So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. I will be back again on Thursday with another True Crime Thursday, and Monday with whatever I decide to post. Alright, see you guys later.